have you here today at the 2014 Haverhill Chamber of Commerce WOW Conference. And what are you going to talk about today?
Selfishly me. Yeah.
That's a good subject.
In terms of what I could offer, all I really focused on was what lessons got me to where I am today, what I've learned over life, and hoping that the motto of just say yes and where that can push you in life can help maybe inspire some other people as well.
Great. Well, that sounds terrific. It sounds like it's going to be really inspiring.
I don't know. This is all new territory, so.
Yeah. And are you enjoying the venue?
It's a beautiful venue, and I love the fact that you get to see the ocean just for a moment after this winter. It's a little reminder that, summer isn't too far away, so it's beautiful. And the Chamber has done a really lovely job with the event.
Great, thank you. Yes. Thanks a lot for being here.
This morning. Hasn't this been great so far? Yeah, great so far. But you guess who we got now? Guess who we got now? We got a famous local star, JC Monahan, who needs no introduction, but I do have an introduction to give her. JC took the co-anchor at Chronicle. Before that, she was meteorologist for the weekday editions of the Eye Opener and midday newscasts when she joined WCVB Channel 5. She has a bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism from the University of Maine and has graduated from Mississippi State University's broadcast meteorology program. She's a Newton native. JC resides in the Boston area with her husband and 2 daughters. Please welcome, big wow welcome for JC Monahan.
Thank you.
I'm actually going to cue your video, so I'll hang out here until. Okay.
Sure. Hello. Thank you so much. I am so really honored to be here today. I can tell you officially I've taken more photos than I've ever taken. So we'll see how that turns out when I check out all your Twitter accounts later. I really was honored when I was asked to be here today. Of course, the first question I asked was, why? Why me? And even my mother was like, why you? I mean, lovingly, but still was like, what's going on? So it got me to thinking, like, really, why me? So as you heard, up until a year ago, I was the morning meteorologist for Channel 5, which meant getting up at 1:30 in the morning. Exactly. For the 4:30 a.m. broadcast. And, after a winter like this, usually no one wants to invite me anywhere. So I'm usually persona non grata. So I'm thinking, that's not the reason I'm here. So now I'm the 5 p.m. anchor and the co-anchor of Chronicle, which is dream job. I mean, just a dream job. You can tell any story you want. You get to go to these great communities. I love it. So, and this is my speech that I saw the other woman had nothing, and I don't know how she did that. That's not the way I roll. So anyway, when I first started, I got to know Anthony, and I noticed he is very neat. I mean, like, so perfect. All his shirts are monogrammed, all of them, right here on the cuff, okay? And so, I just had this feeling I wanted to mess him up. So that became my goal when I first started Chronicle. What could I do to mess him up? And I came up with it. I challenged him to a demolition derby. Yeah, Brockton Fair, baby. That's right. And it didn't go as I had hoped. So if you want to roll the tape, you'll see firsthand what I mean. It's only 5 minutes. I'll be back. Oh, I didn't know it was like a to-do. I can reenact it.
It was 5 years ago this week that
my co-anchor, Anthony Everett, polished, professional, and darn near perfect. I've noticed over the years, he's always put together. I'm determined to change that. How, you may ask? Here at the Brockton Fair. For the last 7 years, Jim and Eileen Mann have hosted the fair's Demolition Derby. 6 nights of crazy-style racing, ending with a full-on demolition. This is where Jim and Eileen met 17 years ago. And this is their passion.
It's a fun family thing that you can do together, from building a car to being here at the races to just enjoying the fun of it all.
We put our heart and soul into it. You know, nobody has more fun than we do.
Jim and Eileen agreed to build cars for Anthony and me. He's Chronicle Smash. I'm Chronicle Crunch. Tell me about my car.
This is a 95
My car.
Chevy Corsica V6. We've welded the door shut on the driver's door. You can do it. And we also have the lime green paint only on the driver's door. That means don't hit the green paint. So that, you know, try to, you know, prevent any kind of injury.
The cars are stripped down. No windshields, no airbags. For some, there's barely a frame. I'm told it's not about the car. It's about how you drive. Speaking of which, here comes Anthony the Smash Everett now.
JC's going down.
Part of the ritual of derby driving, graffiti. That's right, baby. Crunch, beef, smash. What?
I'll put my name up top so that fans can be like, woohoo, Anthony, crush everybody.
To beat Anthony, you need to keep your foot to the floor, watch out what's going on around you, try to not hit the other cars in the races, and when you get to the demolition derby, tires, tires, tires.
What does it feel like when somebody hits you?
For the most part, it's not bad. It's nowhere near as bad as you might think it is.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's pretty bad.
It's not.
Okay.
It really isn't. You'll be surprised. It'll be fun.
And the veterans here, they don't come out to the newbies, do they?
Oh, yeah. Seems to be good.
First, the qualifying race.
3, 2, 1, green flag in the air!
Anthony gets the jump on me, and here's something I learned quickly. A muddy track plus no windshield equals one sloppy driver, and I do not like the slop. Anthony, still squeaky clean. First win goes to the Smash.
That was a disaster. Look at me. You must have fishtailed in front of me a dozen times and just mud just went.
You hit me.
I know, well, I had to do something.
Next up,
We're going to hook you up to a trailer, and you can smash the trailer off. And if you lose your trailer, you're out. And other than that, it's a 10-lap race.
no way that penguin was getting ahead of me. Score 1 for JC. Then there's the flagpole race, a 360 around the tire on the far end each lap. I believe that's another win for JC the Crunch Monahan. And the grand finale.
This is the Brockton Fair, and Brockton Fair is all about demolition derby.
When we say go and wave the green flag, we have what we call a gentleman's touch. Everybody goes back slowly and they touch just softly. Then it's on.
It's clear this is a totally different type of race. The drivers are fierce. There's a $5,000 jackpot for the overall Demolition Derby winner at the end of the week.
Ow, ow. All right, I'm out.
That crunch took me out of the race. I signaled by breaking the yardstick.
Out! My head hurts a lot, like it's spinning. Can I get out of the car?
No, I'm gonna take your helmet off, but I'm gonna put a collar on you, lay down on a board.
Oh, come on, seriously? That's so embarrassing. I was doing so well.
Apparently, not well enough. Next came an ambulance ride, CAT scan, MRI, and neck brace. But before I would let them take me away, I needed to know.
Is Anthony out?
Well, I couldn't let him win, could I?
Yeah. Not exactly what I had hoped for. I don't know if you noticed, but I had dirt in my teeth, my hair, down my shirt. I am now at Good Samaritan Hospital, hooked up to a morphine drip, trying to explain to the good doctor why I was in an accident with no airbags, the seatbelt didn't work, there wasn't a windshield, and I had a big gouge on my neck from the helmet when it hit into my shoulder blade. I get back to work, they're like, maybe you could suggest something just a little less dangerous next time. But it was fun. I mean, we had a great time. Anthony's still squeaky clean, so I can't stand it. But anyway, I am, I would say, a far cry from where I started in life. I mean, technically not that far. I grew up in Newton, and now I work in Needham, and I think that's like 3 miles or so from my parents' house. So, really close, but really far from where I started if you knew who I was back then. I had a pretty typical childhood, brother, sister, loving mom and dad, dog. But I was really shy, like painfully shy as a kid. Even as a teen, it was all about not raising my hand because even if I knew the answer, which, I mean, frankly, often I didn't. But even if I did in class, don't call on me because that means there's attention that's going to come on me, and that was the worst thing in the world. And it didn't help that I had every orthodontic device known to man, because nothing makes you cooler than a headgear. So those were my teenage years, okay? But I did have what I call my happy place, and that was my dance studio. So mom, like typical moms, came to me when I was 4 years old and asked me, do you want to take dance? And like a typical 4-year-old, I just say, yes, dance, of course, tutus, pink, hello. So mom signs me up for Paulette's Ballet Studio. And I don't know if any of you are familiar, it's in Newton. And Paulette's kind of legendary. She's 85, still teaching to this day. She is strict. We had a uniform, okay? Everybody wore a black leotard with your name on it. And she was very clear about what her expectations were, and she was tough as nails. Okay, so I'm going to sign up for my second year of classes. I'm 5, okay? Paulette is watching last year's recital, and she points out to my mother a girl, a teenager, who is fixing her hair on stage, which is a huge no-no in the world of Paulette's, okay? Your leotard can rip, your top can drop, you don't touch it. This is what you're taught. That girl was asked not to return. Right. 30 plus some odd years later, that still sticks with me. 5. I could get kicked out for touching my hair. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. She even says she teaches with a velvet glove, iron fist. So you would think someone like that would make a shy kid like me just run into hiding. But actually it did the opposite for me, because she also made you feel incredibly special. And she made everything feel special, from class to the show. I mean, the sets were incredible, the costumes were incredible, and she made you feel like it was family, and that was key. So we were a dancing family, and I am still best friends with a good chunk of the girls that I grew up with, and I think we all sort of feel the same way. The lessons we learned from Paulette went far beyond dance. So, for example, she would always say, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and you don't want to be that link. So you strive to be a team. So that, went for whether you were working on your roquette line or even to this day. So in other words, my co-anchor, my photographer, my intern, we are all a team. And I don't want to be the weak link, so I strive to do everything I can not to be that link. We're a team, we're a family. So that was one of the lessons that I took from her. Your team is depending on you. Another lesson that I learned, when you step on stage, smile. And when you make a mistake, smile bigger. And this one I use pretty much daily. So the thinking is, if you make a mistake, you want to sort of smile, okay, let me start this again. If you smile, the audience may not notice the mistake. And even if they do, they're going to move on as you do. React to the mistake, and that's all they're going to remember. Okay? That's going to be the moment they remember. Smile bigger. It's no big deal, so I just fell on my face. It's fine. right? Then the audience is comfortable, right? So how do I apply this to my daily life? Well, you can't smile through everything, let's be real. Hey, I just smashed up your Mercedes. It's not gonna work, right? Okay, even though you can try it. What it means is your mistake is only as big as you deem it to be. You might not be able to smile through every mistake, as I just mentioned, but it means move on. You consider it the end of the world, well, then others will too. So the way I translate this to my daily life is, mistakes happen. It's about your reaction. You ask forgiveness, you make amends when necessary, but you move on. It's not the end of the world. Sun rises, world keeps turning. It's gonna be okay. And just as a little aside, as a Catholic, very, very happy with Pope Francis because he said mistakes are human, right? Human failings are just that. They're human, which is quite a relief to a girl raised with a man who walks on water as your guide in life. You have really no option but to fall short. So this whole mistakes are okay thing was like, whew, okay, thank you. Paulette also talked about presentation. She had strict rules for the way you looked. No jewelry, no nail polish. If it's not part of the costume, you don't wear it. No underwear. It shows, okay? So how do I translate that to daily life? Well, I can assure you I'm wearing underwear. But, and this could be a little TMI, I am absolutely opposed to visible panty lines. For the same reason as Paulette. Thank you. My first applause. And that's because you didn't spend all this time putting your outfit together just so people could see the cut of your underwear. Right? Oh, you're a full brief gal, good to know. Right? And frankly, I don't want people noticing the backside. 2 kids, okay? The thing sags. Spanx help, let's be honest, but it's like not everything. So just, okay? So I take that. So I didn't realize, honestly, while I'm learning all these, you're a teenager, you're a kid. You don't realize you're learning all these great lessons until you get older. So I move on to college. Yeah, anyone who knows me knows I really detest the cold, okay? I mean, it's fine. The holidays, I can manage. After that, total nuisance. Don't want it. So the obvious choice for college was University of Maine. Right. Okay, what's up with that? So what happened was, in truth, when it came time to pick my school, my other choices at the time seemed sort of lacking. UMass Amherst, where all my overachieving classmates went if they didn't make it to Ivy League, seemed like a repeat of high school, 4 more years. So did my other 2 choices, which at the time were UNH and Hofstra, which is a school on Long Island. So that left UMaine. I begged my parents, begged them, please do not send me to the tundra of the north, right? Give me a year off. No, didn't happen, totally on deaf ears. So in late August, my parents drive me 4.5 hours north. I showed up with matching luggage. Apparently, the in thing was to pack in trash bags. Yeah. So this was just, I didn't get the memo, okay? I mean, this is just the first in a long line of things that just said to me, you don't belong here. I learned about LL Bean. Malls with no valet parking. Malls that only had 1 level. That's not a joke. I spent a long time circling this mall looking for the escalator. Right? I know. You sit there and you're like, hi, but that was my only experience, okay? So this was all new. And then on top of that, I was labeled, and I hope I don't offend, a masshole. Yeah. So apparently, if you are from south of Augusta, Maine, you're an outsider, and then if you're from Massachusetts, you get the new little title. So this was all my introduction to the University of Maine. So you can imagine I showed up to my sophomore year with a stack of transfer applications. But then something happened that changed, and it was that I joined a sorority. And I wasn't expecting to do that. Total lark, just went with a friend and ended up signing up. And that brought it back to like Paulette's. Now I'm part of a family again. My grades got better. I became more involved in the community. I started to give back to the community, and I really loved it. I became the president of Panhellenic Council, which is the governing board for all sororities. And I decided to change the rush policy, which is how women join the organization, because I didn't think women should be put through 2 weeks of intimidating interviews just to join this organization. I said, go out and make friends. Encourage them to join. You know, we don't need this sort of this process? Well, that was met with nightly calls from sorority headquarters around the country. Imagine a Southern woman in the most polite accent, you know how they are down south, screaming at me that I'm about to take down 100 years of tradition. And I'm like, okay, that's really nice and all, but I got like Spanish homework to finish, so if you could like, wrap it up. And that is when I learned my next great lesson. After many stressed out calls to my mom, she let me know that the phone is there for my convenience. It's like a little light bulb goes off. So that put an end to my answering the phone while I was sleeping, in the shower, or otherwise indisposed. This is pre-cell phone, by the way, so you really had to run to the cord. You know what I'm talking about. So that was a great relief. And it may seem minor, but it actually, for me at least, was a big change. You know, the phone's there for my convenience. I'm not forced to answer that. I'll get back to you. But, you know, it doesn't have to interrupt and rule your daily life. So quickly, it becomes time to pick a major, right? Blank, nothing. What am I going to do? Here we go again. Psychology, loved it. Don't put me in a lab. Don't ask me to counsel people when my instinct, and I quote Cher from Moonstruck here, is to say, get over it. I think it's snap out of it, right? Snap out of it. So I probably wouldn't make a good psychology counselor. I loved reading and writing, English. What are you going to do with that? And then I aced poli-sci, but a DC is like, no way. So now what am I doing? The deadline's coming. So I run into my gym teacher. And he says, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. He asked me a few questions. He goes, broadcast journalism. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, that's what you should do. I said, those people aren't real. That's not a real job. And he's like, frankly, it is. You should be on TV, whatever that means, right? But then once I looked into it, I thought, all right, well, this actually works. You know, I love to write. I love to tell stories. I can leave with actual skills, editing, production. I might even get a paid job after I leave college, not all the unpaid internships all my friends were destined for. So, all right, I bit. This is where I was headed. And it seemed like a natural fit, despite my hesitation. My performance skills from Paulette seemed to sort of work its way in. I'm still shy, but not as painfully shy, but it's hard to still go up to people and ask them questions, personal questions about their lives, knock on doors. Hey, how you doing? But it gets easier. It's still not completely comfortable, but easier. And then life took another sharp turn. I was working in radio at the time, wasn't really a good fit, don't think you noticed, but maybe that I talk with my hands. And somehow that doesn't work on radio. You know, you're trying to make a point and people aren't understanding you. So I'm just sort of skating my lane, as they say, to like drifting, trying to figure out what to do, still dealing with the cold, but making a life for myself. And I'm hanging out with some friends from NBC station up there. And the meteorologist says, well, you know, you want to be my fill-in? I was like, what are you talking about? Well, it's a small station. There's only one weather guy. It makes it hard to take a vacation. You know what I mean? He needs a backup. And he said, well, why don't you be my backup? And I said, because I don't know anything about weather. And he says, no, I'll teach you. I'll teach you the basics. I'll teach you the computer. You got this. And I said, that's crazy. That's crazy. Not to mention, if I do this, I could go like down in flames in front of thousands of people. I mean, granted, it is Bangor, Maine, so it's like, you know, 500 or so. But still, okay? I could still mortify myself. Everything in my body was saying, this is insane. But I just said yes. I still don't know why. Honest to God, I don't know why. I said yes, but I did. Because I figured nothing was going to happen for me if I stayed where I was. The radio thing wasn't my future, right? So here's an opportunity. And it's scary, but I just said yes. We made a tape. We showed it to the news director. He liked it. He hired me as a producer, fill-in weather anchor. Life just totally changed. And I couldn't believe it. First day on the air, I get calls. Wisconsin, New York, and Kentucky want to fly me in. This is insane. This is even crazier, right? But it's so exciting. I mean, people want to see my work. All right, so I go to Wausau, Wisconsin, where I quickly figure out the Midwest accent's going to send me to an insane asylum. I can't go there. No offense, if you're from there. Binghamton, New York, great station, really young news director. Didn't seem like I'd learn a lot from him, and I really needed to learn. So that didn't seem like a really great place for me to go. And Lexington, Kentucky just didn't work out timing-wise. So, but it was really exciting. You know, this could work. This could be a career. And so I went back to school and worked on getting a degree because, you know, you got to know your weather. It's not Arizona, can't fake it. And, okay? And I know, they're always wrong. You don't have to tell me, I know. But you still have to have a degree. So, and I got a job in Portland, Maine, the big city. So it was all really very excited. Went to New England Cable News, even better. And then Channel 5 came calling, and I swear I'll never forget the day. I'm back living with my parents. Don't judge. And I'm still in my bedroom with the twin beds and the pink floral wallpaper. Yeah, I was engaged at the time, and I'm like, in a twin bed. And I'm sleeping in the morning, and the door opens, and this arm comes through with a yellow sticky tape on the back of the door, and it says, please call Colleen Marin. She was the news director at Channel 5. You have never seen me move faster. Jump out of bed than when that little sticky note went on the back of the door. I mean, you're talking Nat and Chet, Dick Albert. Okay? Not to mention, I finally became legit in my family. This is a true story. So I'm working doubles on the weekends, right? Which means morning, noon, and night, Saturdays and Sundays. I come home to my parents' house. They're watching the 11 o'clock news, and weather happens to be on. And I'm like, hey, Mom, shh, watching the weather. I stood there and waited, literally. Weather ends, and I was like, Mom, do you realize there are people around New England shushing their family to hear me? And blank stare back. I'm not kidding. And I just was like, oh my God. Like, okay. Now I'm working with Dick Albert, Harvey Leonard. All right, now I got a job. You know what I mean? Now my parents are like, okay, this thing is real. I was like, yeah, okay. But at least we got to this point, right? And I think we sort of know where it goes from here. When I give advice to students, interns, anyone looking to start a career, I point out the power of just saying yes. When I was offered the job at the radio station, I was nervous. I would be working alone. Who would guide me? How would I learn? But I said yes, even though it scared me because my life wasn't going to happen if I stayed where I was. Here was an opportunity. When I was invited to fill in on Weather Anchor again, presented with a new opportunity, I could have said no. That dinner could have just been a dinner. But I had an opportunity, and I said yes. I knew working in radio wasn't my future, despite having learned more than I could have expected, so this was a challenge, and I went for it. And some people call this luck, and I call it being open. And I imagine all of you have had opportunities presented to you. I mean, maybe it was an opportunity to help someone. I know you're thinking opportunity. But yes, an opportunity to help someone. Where, if you say yes, where can it go? Maybe it's a new friendship, maybe it's a deeper friendship, maybe you learn what someone's going through, you get a better understanding of it. Maybe you get that joy of giving back, but you won't know unless you say yes. And in case you're thinking, I'm suggesting you all walk around and say yes to everything and basically reverse everything our good moms taught us. And Nancy Reagan basically, made a slogan, just say no. I'm not saying say yes to everything. I'm just saying is remain open. Don't automatically reject something because it scares you or because it's different or it's not what you had planned. It's one of my favorite words. It's not what I had planned. Well, you know what? You know the old saying, when you make a plan, God laughs, So we get one life, one chance at the merry-go-round, unless you're a Buddhist. And then I know you get more than one life. But since there's only one life at a time, I'm just going to focus on this one. We'll get to the other ones. Okay, that would be good. Be thoughtful. How would saying yes change you, enrich you? Weigh the risks, but don't let the fear of risk overwhelm your ability to say yes if it feels right. And that's just my final point that I wanted to make. I have become a big believer in the power of your gut. What does your gut say? Every single time I have voted against my gut, I was wrong. Every time. I've learned to say no when I get that feeling in my stomach that it just isn't right, even if you don't understand quite why, but you just know, well, then I say no. And if your gut isn't talking to you, maybe it's because you're not listening. I always find that if I'm too stressed, there's too much clamor in the head, too much of the racing thoughts, you can't hear the gut. You have to sometimes quiet down and just breathe. And if you sit and you just breathe, sometimes those answers come to you. But you gotta quiet down. At least that's how my gut and I talk to each other. We've become sort of good friends over the years. I trust it. It's become bigger. That's a side note. That wasn't in the speech, but that was. So I titled this speech, and by the way, my very first, Just Say Yes. And if I had hopes that this talk would mean anything, even to just one of you, I really hope that the next time you're faced with a choice, an opportunity, you'll stop and consider, how would my life change if I just said yes? Thank you. Did you want Q&A? Did you want questions? Yeah, no, if you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Oh, great. Okay. There's a woman in pink. Hi.
What was the reason why you went from being on the weather to Chronicle?
Well, that was okay. Why did I move from weather to Chronicle? I did weather for 17 years, and I loved it. I really did. There were a bunch of reasons. 1:30 in the morning was not working for me anymore. Never really did. But I have 2 kids now, and I was honestly put, I was living in a fog. There was, I'd get home and have this great amount of time with my kids, but nothing was happening up here. Because anybody who does shift work, it's just not, it's not normal. It's not how your body is supposed to work. So no matter, I was very strict with my bedtime. It just didn't work. But I did it for 10 years. I mean, I did it for a long time. And I also felt like I had to think of the next step, where's the path going to go from here? And you sort of at this point in my career, I either move to chief meteorologist and go down that road, or you got to turn the car around and try something new. And so I did start off in journalism, and I kind of was trying to worm my way into Chronicle for a long time. Just showing up, hi, what you guys doing? Need any help? And I just worked with my general manager to kind of make it happen. It's very unusual. You don't see a lot of meteorologists stop in the track and do something different, but I am not a typical meteorologist. By the way, if you ask any other meteorologist if they're going to give you a little speech, it's always the same. I was 6 and I was in a tornado and oh my gosh, my whole life changed. I'm telling you, every one of them that I meet's I was in a blizzard and I almost died. And mine's just so not that dramatic. You know what I mean? I was here for Blizzard 78, wow. But getting locked in your house for 2 weeks was not that traumatic, But so my path is a little bit different than the other meteorologists. So therefore, it made sense for me. And like I started with, telling great stories. We just did a show on heroin, which the addiction rate, I'm not going to get into all of it, but is skyrocketing. And I do demolition derby. Where can you kind of do shopping and food? And then we did a show on teen suicides in Newton. So it is a unique opportunity. And when it was presented, I couldn't say no. Anyone else? Why aren't you guys all shy and quiet? Come on, I got up here and talked to all of you.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
How did you feel about getting into a man's world? Because it sounds almost like there were mostly men in the world you were in.
Oh, no, yeah. That was a big reason why when he asked me about do I want to be his backup, the meteorologist, there were no women at the time doing meteorology. So there were no role models. So even when I was in the world of television, it did not occur to me that this was a job that women do. And it seems so naive, but if it's not in front of you, it doesn't necessarily occur to you. At least that's how it was for me. So now I am really proud to say it's almost 50-50. in the world of meteorology. I think next generation of women have noticed that this is a path, that science and math are cool and can be cool, and women can really excel in the field. It isn't easy, because I will be honest, you do get pegged with, she only got hired because she's a woman. And that for me, that battle was simply like, yeah, all right, well, I'll show you. You just got to be a little bit better. You know, you have to just, you can say it's not fair. You wish the world were different, but right now, the reality is it isn't. So I step up my game. You want to tell me I'm only here because I'm a woman, well then my meteorology skills better stack up, you know, because nobody's going to tell me I'm here because I wear a dress. That's not going to happen. And thankfully I worked with Harvey Leonard, who I will say is not like that, and truly loves the staff he's with and treats us all with great respect. That hasn't been my entire journey, but with him it was always like that. And he's been, to me, that's what makes him one of the greatest, because he is, in the world of meteorology, it's like, Harvey Leonard, king. So for him to treat all of us as equal, you know, that gives me hope that that's going to continue. And now in most staffs, if you look at all the stations, it's 50-50. So yay for us. Yeah.
Quick question. What does JC stand for? And did you name yourself JC for that, or did somebody put that on you?
Yeah, this is just the dumbest story. It really is. No, I'm a Irish girl, Jennifer Catherine. First station, that big city, Portland, Maine station, was my first on-air job, and there was already a Jennifer on the desk. So, you know, the audience will get all confused if there are two Jennifers, which is the silliest thing I've ever heard. People have changed their last names for simplicity. You know, if you have an 18-syllable last name, sometimes they'll take their middle names. Harvey Leonard, Leonard's his middle name. Lots of people do that, or they'll take their mother's maiden name or something like that. Nobody, to my knowledge, has ever had to change their first name. And I didn't want to do it. It actually became a sticking point that I almost didn't take the job, because they were like, you could be Wendy, the weather girl. I'm like, no, I can't. It's not gonna happen. And they were like, all right, well, call yourself Catherine. I'm like, you might as well call me Barbara, because I have no relationship to Catherine. Nobody's ever called me by my middle name. So, you know, and I went to college in Maine. People know me. I'm not going to all of a sudden become this different person. So I said the only way it was going to work is if you use my initials, because then I didn't feel phony. It's still me. And in the year I was born, by the way, Jennifer was the most popular name. So I was called JC like in 4th grade, because there were 5 of us. So we all had to, poor teacher, had to figure out how to distinguish us. So it felt a little bit comfortable. And like I said, I didn't feel like a phony baloney going by JC. And it's worked. I actually, you know, I have to thank him now as much as I mocked him for years for making me change my name. That's all right. Anytime I hear someone say Jennifer, I know I'm in trouble. Story decision on Chronicle is a group effort, but mostly by executive producer. So I pitched the heroine show because once one of my favorite actors, Philip Seymour Hoffman, passed, I, you know, started reading up on the rates in the state of Massachusetts, and frankly horrified. I'm raising 2 young girls, and this scares the daylights out of me. So that was a group discussion about the importance of the story, and the executives agreed, and that's how that story got on the air. So that's kind of how it happens. Or they come to you and say, we want you to do a story on X, Y, or Z. But no, I love, and when we're out like this, I come across story ideas, and it's great. And I'll go back and pitch it and try to make something out of it. So you have to, you know, try to make one story into a half hour is the challenge. My demolition derby was also with NASCAR, motorbiking, and off-roading, just so you know. By the way, my favorite was the motorcycle. If you haven't tried it, just FYI. Yeah. Ha! Work-life balance. That one's good. No, seriously, I didn't have work-life balance while I was doing the morning show. That was part of the problem. So again, I had all these hours in the day. I'd get home at 1 in the afternoon, and I'd be able to be with the 2 kids. But I went to bed before they did. And I went to bed before my husband got home. So I never saw him. Our relationship was via text. And again, that was for a decade. And my daughter's 7 now, my other one is 2. So when my second daughter was born, that's when I kind of knew something had to change, because I can't keep living in this rat race of just go, 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 and you can't stop down. I mean, I didn't have kids so the nanny could raise the kids. You know, I know it's a fact of life that we have to have help, you know, takes a village, and I totally believe in that, but I want to be there too. And part of the problem was when I was there, I wasn't there. So, and that was that fog I was talking about. When you get up at 1:30 in the morning, I could have 10 hours of sleep. I still felt terrible. So switching was a big part of it. Frankly, I took a pay cut to go and move over. I changed a lot of things to move out of the morning job because it was that important to me. And so I worked 12 to 8. Now, I actually see my kids less, but the quality is so much higher. I'm there in the morning to do her hair before she goes to school, which at 7 has become like a really big deal. Can't wait to cut it off. End of the May. And, you know, I FaceTime with them at dinner. And on the weekends, I'm actually normal because I'm not trying to flip my body from getting up at 1:30 in the morning to going to bed at 10 or 11 at night, which was a really hard turnaround. So in terms of, I mean, all of us have the challenges. Anybody, I don't care, you know, if you're home alone with your dog, you're still trying to figure out who's taking care of the dog and how am I doing this and who's taking them for a walk. It doesn't matter what your responsibilities are. We all have responsibilities. It's a matter of priorities. And for me, the kids are first. So it came to a breaking point and I made the change. And hopefully, you know, it's what's important to you. I could have stayed on the mornings and kept going, and I could have gone that elevator ride, but this was more important. Yeah.
One last question.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you had a story you'd like featured on Chronicle, how would you go about that?
Just email.
Just email the Chronicle?
Yeah, sure. Facebook, email, Twitter. You let us know what you're doing. Yeah. No, that's the best way we get to know stories. Reach out, let us know what you guys are up to. It doesn't always work. A lot of times, like I said, people have great stories, but how do you make a whole half hour? You know, how do you package it? That becomes kind of the goal. But yeah, just let us know. Thank you all very much. I really do appreciate being here.
One more round of applause, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Best wow ever. Best wow ever, right? Those of you that were here last year, was that the best wow ever? This is the best wow ever, right? Okay. So I have some things to tell you before we're going to start thinking about going to lunch, right? First of all, we have some things for you to do. I want to be sure that you buy your raffle tickets for our giant raffle. $750 gift certificate to the Langham Hotel. Chocolate bar, brunch, overnight, get a suite, have a blast. Raffle tickets will be sold in the chamber space in the front. And later today, people will be walking around with them too. So make sure you get your raffle tickets. They are 3 for $5 and a whole armload for 10. So make sure you get those raffle tickets. While you're at lunch, all of our shopping people are going to be here. So you have time to shop and visit. 8 of them, I think 8 of them, are giving away their own raffles. So make sure you enter those raffles at lunchtime because we're going to pull those raffles right after lunch. Then, I wanted to say that our giant raffle for the Langham Hotel is sponsored by DePietro Heating and Cooling. So we thank them for that. But wait, there's more. I have other things for you to do at lunch. In sort of the vestibule, as you go from here, you're going out into the lobby of the Blue Ocean for lunch. We have a lunch buffet set up. We're going to call tables to do that. But you will see pictures of Haverhill's future. For those of you that are from Haverhill and know the area, the Woolworth building is being transformed. And it's just amazing. You have to see the pictures. And Sally Sarasolo O'Rourke, Sally, could you stand up, please? So the first thing you need to know about Sally is she's the mother of WOW. None of us would be here without her. She's the one that invented this. So we carry that torch on for her. She's also I think, the main driver for Haverhill's future. So she will be in the vestibule to answer questions for you. There's a commercial component, there's a apartment, condo component, and she'll be able to talk to you about all that. So stop by and say hello. So that's the second thing that you can do. But wait, there's more. You have lots to do at lunch. Please be sure you're keeping up with your evaluations. Don't wait till the end of the day when you forget, well, which speaker said what, and were they great, were they not great. These evaluations, we really take them very seriously. We go back, we look at them, we say, well, they liked this, they didn't like that, this is what we need to do differently for next year. So that's a really important thing for you to do. I already said you could go shopping, visit Haverhill's Future, buy raffle tickets. We have a cash bar. It's Friday, cash bar, cash bar, have lunch. And in a few minutes, we're actually going to have entertainment. We have the Northern Essex Jazz Ensemble. We'll be setting up in just a couple minutes, and when they're all ready to go, we'll open the curtains and we'll bring them out for do background music while you shop and eat and shop some more and buy tickets and visit Haverhill's Future and the other 42 things I told you needed to do.
This is where the Woolworth building is today. This is a 7-story commercial building. This is a residential building, so if you look at this one, it gives you a little bit better. This is the back of this, and then this is all residential. So it has an open plaza, a boardwalk that will attach to the marina, and if we go down here, you can see this part. This is how you would get into the promenade, back. UMass Lowell is taking 2 floors of that building. That's the side. That's the corner, and this is the other corner. And here is would be Woolworth building is here, and then 2 Kate's properties, and then Norman Newman furniture, and then Ocasio. So that's all been bought, and it's all going to be demolished. And then this is the entrance and the exit to the garage. It's 162 spaces underground for the parking. So it's underground parking, so all the yellow is actually underground parking. It is nice. It's hope to start demolition this summer, late summer, construction early fall, and 14 to 16 months of construction, and hopefully be ready by September, fall of 2015.
Northern Essex offers an associate's degree in music and a certificate in music technology. Please welcome the NECC Jazz Ensemble while you eat, shop, and buy tickets.
All right, here we go.